those folks.
Now, can you file the will in the probate court before you pass away, or whoever's the representative, they have to file after you pass away? Which?
The second. So here in Alabama, we do not file the wills before someone passes away.
Okay.
There is a law in place that says if you are the custodian of a will, meaning it's in your possession, then you have a legal responsibility to turn that will over to the court or to someone who will file it with the court within a reasonable amount of time after someone passes away. So it is up to either the executor or the family member to file that with the probate court after you die.
Yeah, that's important because I've seen like real conflicting on whether the person takes it down there and, you know, just have to wait for a certain time. So if there's no dispute on it, what's almost kind of like, I know things can change. What's the normal process when there's no dispute sometimes on the will?
Yeah, so if there is a will and there is no dispute, then what we would want, you know, if you come into our office, we're going to prepare the paperwork. There are 2 petitions that have to be filed. One is a petition for probate of will, and the other one is a petition for what we call letters testamentary, which is essentially the order from the court that says this person is named as the executor of the will, and they are now given the rights to serve in that capacity. So we prepare and file those things. You file those with a death certificate. And if there is a will, we want everyone to sign off. So we want the family members, the heirs at law, that could be your spouse, children, parents, according to the statute that we talked about earlier, and anyone named in the will. We want them to sign off in agreement that, yes, this is a good will. We want this to be probated. And if you file all of that together, here in Jefferson County at least, the court immediately issues the order granting that. Some of the other counties in the state, it may take a few days, but it is a very easy, quick process if everyone agrees.
Okay, and then I guess get back to your other thing you got a master's in when it comes to the tax situation. Can you speak more on that?
Sure. So estate tax is something that sort of similar to the trust. I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people have this idea that the government's going to take all of your money, or when you die, they're going to take a large amount of it. Right now, the estate tax exemption is really, really high. It is about $14 million per person. If you're married, you each get that, so it is close to $30 million, meaning that if your assets are valued at less than that at the time of your death, you do not owe estate tax. And the state of Alabama does not have a state estate tax. So the federal estate tax is the only thing that we have to worry about here. And it just applies to a very, very small number of Alabamians right now. That is set to change within the next year. But from everything that we've heard from this administration and from Congress, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because change. Trying to think anything else is what are some things, I know we covered a lot in the interview, what are some things that a person can start doing before they put the will together?
Sure.
Before they come see you.
So we try to make the process as easy and seamless as possible on the front end. We want you to call into our office, set up an appointment, and not have to do any preparation. But I will tell you some of the things that we talk about in that first meeting. So some things to kind of be thinking about, keep in mind. Number one, what are your assets? What are the accounts that you have? What sort of life insurance? Who are the beneficiaries on your retirement policy or your life insurance policy? If you've got an investment account, is there a beneficiary listed on that account? What type of account is it? All of those things are things that we're going to talk about in that first meeting. The other thing is, what do we want to happen to everything? What do you envision that being? Is it a situation where, especially if you have small children, people go, well, no, I'm not trying to give money to charity or anybody else. I need to make sure that my children are provided for. If that's not the case, do you want to give money to your church or to your college or university or whomever, whatever entity, or another family member or something like that? Be thinking about that. What does that look like? It's a hard conversation to have with yourself. What do I want to happen when I die? But it is necessary. And then I think the final thing to start thinking about is who is going to play these important roles? So who do you trust? There aren't very many of us who have just an endless number of people in life that we would trust to handle our affairs, to handle our money. And so be thinking about who those important people are. Who would you trust to be the executor of your estate, or an agent under a power of attorney who can do things like pay your bills if you're in the hospital? You know, who would you want to make medical decisions for you if you can't speak for yourself to your doctor? Those are all things that we go over in that first meeting, and so it's helpful to be thinking about those in advance.
Because I know a lot of times I can see definitely benefit, like single individual, but married individual be like, well, the spouse passed away and I don't have to go through the probate process because I was married and all that, but it still makes it, like you said, seamless.
Well, and to your earlier point about being able to kind of control what happens at the end of life, we also can't control when or how we exit this life, right? Yeah. And so to say, well, my spouse will handle it. Well, you and your spouse could pass away at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could pass away and your spouse is not able to for whatever reason. Maybe they're having some health issues. Or they may pass away before you, in which case, obviously, you need to make some changes in your estate plan. But we have to think about and plan for and prepare for all of the worst case scenarios. And so that's part of the process. We call it ripping the Band-Aid off. We're going to think about all the worst things that can happen in life, and we're going to plan for and prepare for that so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, and you can have that peace of mind.
Yeah, because I mean, I know people are sitting thinking about this. If you worry so much about the cost, I mean, and that's the biggest thing. People always be like, well, it costs too much. Same thing like life insurance. But you got to take the first step.
That's right. That's right.
Of doing it.
Do you know what's happening in Birmingham? Download the What's Happening Birmingham app today on Android, iPhone, and iPad for free. Get info on everything you need to know about local news, events, businesses, restaurants, and more. Visit our website, what'shappeningbham.com, or follow us on social media @happeningbham for more information. Download the What's Happening Birmingham app today, your source for everything Birmingham.